Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather and I'm here with another reading vlog. This time I am letting my husband choose my books for the week. So in just a second I'll bring him in, but he has picked some books. I gave him full free reign to pick whatever books he wanted. So we're going to have him show me my books and then I'm going to just read whatever he's picked for me. Okay, this is my husband Jacob. He hasn't been in very many videos, but we'll just have you show me. Did you want me to guess first? Or are you good to just give me your books?
Yeah, I like to see what you try to guess.
Okay, so I guessed Fablehaven.
Yeah.
But I feel like you probably didn't, or
Nope,
you
that
did
is
end up
one,
picking it.
yeah.
Okay, we talked about that one already. How many are off of our shelves and how many did you buy?
That's the only one off the shelves.
Okay. So they're all ones that we don't own already. I had guesses of books that were on our shelves, but I don't really have any guesses of ones that you would buy. Okay, book one's Fablehaven.
Yeah. This is my favorite book as a kid, this book series, so I think it'd be great for you to read it.
One of the mini book series I never read as a child.
Next one, Red Rising.
Should have guessed that one.
This was one of the more recent 5-star books that I've had, so hopefully you enjoy it. Last Unicorn.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of it.
I've seen the cover. I don't know if I've heard anything about it ever though.
I don't know. I was looking it up and it looked like it was talking about it being an adult fairy tale and you've liked similar books, so hopefully you like it. And it's a little bit shorter, so that'd be nice. And the last one is Legendborn.
Okay.
It's one that I know you've talked about, but
yes.
I'm
trial running it for you.
One. To talk about it, so read it.
Perfect. What order do you want me to read them in?
That order that I gave it to you in.
Okay,
Yeah.
so start to finish.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the books we're going to be reading. That's the TBR for this video. I'm going to start with Fablehaven and I will check in and let you guys know as I read it what my thoughts are, and then we'll bring Jacob back in at the end and I will tell him my final thoughts and what I rated all the books. So welcome to the video and we'll dive right into it. Hey guys, it is the next day and I wanted to do just a little bit of a check-in while my husband wasn't here because I feel like I am comfortable talking to the camera when I'm by myself, but when other people get around I feel like I get awkward again. So if the last few clips were really awkward to watch, my apologies. But I have started Fablehaven. I have confirmed that I have not read this book. I thought for a minute that there was a possibility that I maybe had read this, but I think it was Spiderwick Chronicles that I had read the first book of that I think I was confusing with this. So I do not think that I've read this book. And this one's gonna fly through. Like I read for maybe a half hour last night and I'm 46 pages in. So this one's definitely gonna go very fast, but I am excited about this TBR. I feel like lots of times when people do these videos, they end up with really, really random books because their husbands don't really, or boyfriends or whoever they have picking don't really read. Jacob is a big reader, so he was actually really feeling the pressure as I was trying to get him to do these because he really wanted to pick ones that he knew I like because he's a big reader. He really wanted to choose books that I would rate highly, and the pressure was on for him. These are not just like random books. These are, most of these he's either read or did thorough research on. I'm actually surprised he didn't pick more books that he'd read before. Like 2 of these he's read and the other 2 he hasn't. I was kind of expecting him to pick more books of ones that he's been like bugging me to read. I'm honestly really surprised he didn't pick Harry Potter because I feel like that's one that he's wanted me to read for a really long time and I've never read it. So but yeah, I am really excited about these. I gave him that he could do 2 to 4 depending on the length of books that he picked because he reads a lot of really thick high fantasy books, and so I was a little nervous about how long of books he was going to pick, but he did a really good job of picking a reasonable amount of books for me to read in the next little bit. I don't know if I'm actually going to manage to finish all these in a week because it is the 4th of July this week, and so we have a lot of family parties and things going on, but I'm going to try my best to finish these in like a reasonable amount of time and not drag this out forever. So Fablehaven's my first pick. I'm working on it and then I will update you guys, honestly, probably when I'm done. I feel like middle grade books I don't always have that many thoughts on, so I'll probably wait and update you when I've actually finished. it's time for an update. I have finished Fablehaven. I don't think I've updated since I finished it, but this book was good. I gave it a 3.75 stars. I liked the world. Overall, it was a really quick, easy read. I love reading middle grade books when I'm like in between and I want something that's just like fast to finish and get into. They don't take very much brain power. I love reading middle grade. So this was a really solid one. I do feel like I would have loved this one as a kid, so it is a little bit of a shame that I didn't ever read it, but I will definitely continue the series. I need to get the second book. We have book 1 and 3 at the moment, so I need to find book 2 and get that added to our collection. Overall though, great book. The world was good. Seth is a little bit annoying. He's the like younger brother. I struggle a little bit with the major rule breaker characters, the characters that like you tell them to do something and then they immediately go and do the opposite. And he's a little bit of one of those. A lot of this book would not have happened if it weren't for him going and breaking rules. So I guess it furthers the plot, but that bugged me. The other thing that felt a little off to me is I felt like they kept going back and forth between treating the magical creatures like animals and treating them like people. And I know that this is probably something that bugs me more because I'm an adult reading a middle grade book, but it just feels a little funny. Like, why is it that all these magical creatures have like signed a treaty and supposedly they're acknowledging, they're following the rules of this treaty because they signed it, but then we're like having this guy who goes and captures them in the wild and then takes them around and sells them to the reserves like animals? You're like, wait, what? Like, we're communicating with the fairies. The fairies can go to war. The fairies can do all of these things, like they can talk, but then we're like trading them like animals. So that part was a little off for me. I just felt like it was more jarring than anything else of just like, wait, I can't figure out, like, are these animals or are they human? Or like people? I mean, obviously not humans, but like, there was just a weird, I don't know. I understand that some of the magical creatures are much more animal-like the golem, for example. But the fact that the guy is like a fairy trader when the fairies seem like some of the most people-like creatures was just a little off. So that was really the biggest thing that threw me off in this book was that trader guy, but overall it was good. I'll definitely continue the series. And with that, I have moved on to my second book in this video, which is Red Rising by Paris Brown. This one has gotten so big online. So I'm interested to see what I think. My husband has read this one. He actually listened to the audiobooks. We started trying to listen to the audiobook with each other, but it was getting a little bloody and I don't do blood very well when it's in like audio form. I can handle a lot more if I'm just reading, partially because I can just kind of skim, but I can do a lot more blood physically reading it than listening to it. So I'm gonna try doing it through book form because the audiobook was not working out super well for me. But I am on chapter 12, page 84. A lot has happened. We've got the general setup of where we're going with this book. Definitely not what I expected this to be based off of how a lot of people have described it, but it's also hard to describe without spoiling things because so many big reveals happen in the first few chapters. But you're following this guy who is 16, and this is the biggest thing that's throwing me off. My brain cannot wrap its mind around the fact that this kid is 16. He feels like a middle-aged man. And that's not just like, like he is married and his wife, like he is married at the beginning of the book, which like I guess he got married at 16, which like whatever. But I just feel like this guy talks and acts like a middle-aged man. And the like 30, 40-year-olds are like old men with gray hair and stuff. And so it just feels like we've just like shifted the age at which you become middle-aged or old. And so he's 16, but he feels like a middle-aged man. So I don't know, that's a little bit weird. It's like jarring to my mind. I cannot for the life of me picture this guy as a 16-year-old. Like it just doesn't match with how the character is. So every time it mentions that he's 16, I'm like, oh wait, what? Like I don't understand. Everything about this character is written like a middle-aged man. So there is that. That's been throwing me for a loop this whole book. Aside from that, it's really good. So far, I don't know, it's a little slow. I feel like I'm not really getting into it super fast, but I'm gonna keep reading. I will update you at some point. We are about to head down to hang out with our families in Utah for the 4th of July weekend. So I don't know how much I will update you as I read this book, but I'll for sure update you once I finished it. just depending on how much I end up reading this weekend. Hopefully I can read a lot. I think I'm going to take this one, and I'm also going to take our next book, which is The Last Unicorn. Just in case I do manage to finish this one, I want to be able to start this one. So that's where I'm at. I will try and get some clips, and I will try and update you as I go along. But again, we're going to be hanging out with family, so I don't know how much I will be vlogging. I have finished Red Rising. I think I'm going to give this book 4 stars. It was a little bit slow at the beginning. It took me a while to get feeling really into it. I think it was probably about halfway through the book when I finally felt like things had picked up and I was interested in picking up and reading. And once I hit that point, it went really fast. But it took a minute to get there. So that's really honestly one of my biggest complaints. I also feel like there's just a lot of things that weren't really explained, especially in the first half. By about halfway through, they get to this point, and I don't want to explain too many details because it's spoilers, but they get to a point where kind of the whole setting shifts, and they get into this part where it's very closed off. There's a whole new set of rules and a very limited scope of what they're dealing with, and at that point is when it started to get really interesting, and I felt much more sucked in and interested. I just feel like at the beginning part, you're dealing with so many big issues before you really get much world building that it's hard to really understand what's going on. I didn't feel any investment in the cause that he's fighting for. I didn't feel any draw or any, I don't know, I just wasn't sold, I guess. Like, it just felt like you have these oppressors and you have this group that he's from, but I knew logically that they were like the oppressors, but it just didn't really feel like it. Like, I wasn't really super committed to that this was the side that I wanted to cheer for on this situation, you know? So it's kind of hard to explain, but I just really feel like there's a lot of world building that was lacking, and they were really expecting us to root for this character from the get-go without ever showing you why you should root for him. And it wasn't until about halfway through the book that I felt like I really saw enough of the character to want him to win. So that was a little bit interesting. I am assuming the world building will come as we go through the rest of the series, but I just feel like typically in books, you start in the closed off smaller thing, you get connected to your characters, and then you introduce the larger issue. This one went backwards. Like, we introduced the larger issue and then we put him into a smaller setting where we could really become connected to the character. So the first part felt just off because I just didn't have enough context and I didn't care enough about the character to want to keep reading, but I pushed through and it did get good. It did get really fast. We learned a lot more about the character. It's a very interesting character because I don't really feel like he has much of a personality other than just he's angry. Like, really, that is the extent of the personality of this character, is just rage. And so I find that a little bit difficult to really connect with the main character. There are other characters that I honestly find more intriguing than the main character because he's just so surface level, I'm just angry. So I'm waiting for the character development to come from that. I am interested enough to continue the series. I don't know that I would say that this is like a new favorite world or anything because I just don't feel like the world building's really happened yet. So I'm still waiting on that. We'll see where it goes with the rest of the series. I just feel like I need some better world building in order to understand his desire to like cause change. So that's Red Rising. Overall, it was a good one. I did enjoy it once I got further into the book. I just didn't enjoy the beginning parts of it. With that being said, we are now on to book 3 of 4. We're going to be reading The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I really don't know hardly anything about this book, so let's just read the back together. The unicorn lived in a lilac wood, and she lived all alone. So she ventured out from the safety of the enchanted forest on a quest for others of her kind. Joined along the way by the bumbling magician Schmendrick and the indomitable Molly Grew, the unicorn learns all about the joys and sorrows of life and love before meeting her destiny in the castle of a despondent monarch and confronting the creature that would drive her kind to extinction. The Last Unicorn, renowned and beloved... Oh, in The Last Unicorn, renowned and beloved novelist Peter S. Beagle spins a poignant tale of love, loss, and wonder that has resonated with millions of readers around the world. So they didn't explain a ton, except that I think our main character is a unicorn. So that will be fun. This does look like pretty big text, so I think this will be a decently fast read. Let's see, how many pages is it? 292. So I should be able to get through this one pretty quickly, and I will update you either partway through if I have thoughts, or I'll just update you when I finish this book. Hey everybody, I'm here with a big update on my reading vlog. I've been out of town visiting my family for the last week or so, so I've been reading through some books while I've been down there, but I wasn't really talking about them. So I have quite a few updates for you. First of all, I have finished The Last Unicorn. I'm trying to remember if I've talked to you at all about this book. I truly, like, it's been so long I don't even remember what I've talked about, but I did finish this one. I think I'm giving this one 4 stars. It is a very Narnia-esque book. It's very magical, very whimsical. That being said, this is not a fantasy book that really does world building. Like, you just kind of accept things. People just know stuff and you just have to run with it. And there's a lot of times where descriptions are done so whimsically that I was like, I'm not 100% sure that I get what is happening here. So that's, I think, my big complaint about it is it is so whimsical that it just doesn't really make sense. So it was a very good book. It has a lot of interesting pieces in it about like typical story arcs in fairy tales, specifically about like the role of a hero. And there's one character who comes in and they're like, you are the hero in this story, so you have to do these certain things because you are the hero, and no, we can't do that because you're the hero, so it has to be you, not us. So it's very like, I don't know, a self-aware book where they are talking about like, nope, this is my role, I'm the magician in this story. Like, I'm not the hero, that's not what my role is in this specific story. So that was interesting. I thought it was kind of fun to see like a little bit of that self-awareness in the book. It definitely has an ending that feels more like an old fairy tale than like a modern fantasy book. It's very much so, like, it's a satisfying ending. It's not totally like, here's the end and every little detail's wrapped up, but it kind of gives you a little bit of an idea. There are 2 novellas in this world that I believe the author wrote quite a while after this book was written. So I am interested to read those novellas and see what they are. I don't know if they are continuations. Like, I could easily see them being some kind of like epilogue type thing, but I don't know. So good book, definitely appropriate for all ages. I think it's like a book you could definitely read as a family. If you're looking for like a good book club book, this could bring up some very interesting discussions, but it's not like a new favorite. So that's The Last Unicorn. It was good. It's not the most amazing book I've ever read, but I enjoyed it. And then that being said, I did start the last book for this video, which is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. I am nearing halfway. I'm on page 232. This book has been really good so far. It is like classic YA fantasy, but I don't feel like it's following tropes necessarily so much. So that has been nice. It is very based off of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. That is like a huge part of this, and I don't feel like it necessarily explains that. So I feel like you do need to go in with at least some base knowledge of the myth of King Arthur, or of the story of King Arthur. Because there's a lot of things that you're just kind of expected to know. You're just kind of expected to know who Merlin is. You're just kind of expected to know about King Arthur, the knights, all of that kind of stuff. You just kind of need to come in with some base knowledge. So I don't feel like I have like any special knowledge about it, but if you've like at least consumed some other things about King Arthur, it will help you a lot in following this book. That being said, I do feel like this book requires a lot more brain power than necessarily every YA fantasy does. I've been very tired the last week or last couple days as I've been trying to read this, and I feel like I've just been really struggling to grasp this book and just like commit it to memory. There are a lot of characters. There are a lot of weird names of things as she's being introduced to the magic system. But overall it's good. I like the characters. The biggest thing that's throwing me off at this point is I'm not even quite halfway through the first book, and our romance is like progressed quite a bit. Like they've already kissed, it's already singing. So I'm like, where are we going with this? Like the main love interest boy is very forward. And he is just like, I like you. And I'm just gonna put that out there. And like there's not this whole dancing around each other. This is not a book if you want yearning. That's not happening in this book. So I'm very interested to see if they actually stay together or if this is gonna be like a on again off again situation or what's gonna happen with that. But I'm interested. I do feel like it's been a little, not info dumpy, but it is throwing so much stuff at you all at once that again, it's just taking a little bit of brain power to try and process everything and remember what's going on and also keep track of all of these characters. There's so many names. So it's good, but I'm definitely struggling. I feel like this book will be better if I binge read it. So I am home. It's currently Friday. I am going to try and binge read as much of this book as I possibly can. I feel like I could finish it today. Ideally, I would like this video to go up today. So I'm really hoping that I can get this done, film my outro, and edit this video and get it up for you today. Hopefully no later than tomorrow. But that's what's happening. I'm gonna go read the rest of this book and then we will wrap this video up. I am here to do my final update for this video. I have finished Legendborn. If you hear any weird sounds, it's super windy outside today, so just ignore it. But I have finished Legendborn. I think I'm giving this one like 4.25 stars. It was good. It definitely, like I said in the last update, took a bit more brain power to follow along with this one. There's a lot of crazy words. There's a lot of names, lots of world building happening. But the end did really pick up. There were lots of crazy plot twists. There were definitely some things I did not see coming that I think will set it up for some really interesting stuff. I will say just overall, the main characters aren't my favorite. I like quite a few of the side characters in this book better, for sure. The one Merlin character named like Selwyn, I think is his name, he's my favorite, I think. The healer, William, is also definitely high on the list, but the two main characters I don't love as much as the side characters, which is always a little bit of a bummer. At the end of the book, there is a very interesting little exclusive short story from the Merlin Selwyn's point of view, where it basically goes back and takes a few different scenes from his POV. So I'm very interested to see if we get a POV from him in the second book. I would be totally down for that. So we'll see. I definitely think I will continue the series. It's only a trilogy, so, and I do believe it is completed now. I think the third one came out not that long ago, so definitely will continue it at some point. It's not like my all-time favorite series so far, but it was a strong start. So it could go either way depending on where the other books go. I'm not sure that I see exactly where the overall plotline for the series is gonna go. It feels like there's just a really vague idea of who the enemy is that they're fighting, and the characters definitely have a very vague idea of that. There were some interesting things. There's a lot of commentary in this book about like racism and how that is still playing out in the South. Your main character is a black woman in basically a super white male organization, so you get a lot of that. There's a very interesting thing that they do with that at the end, which also kind of plays on the Arthur like legend, which I thought was good. I don't know that it's like my favorite twist in the world, but I thought it was very interesting, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. So that's how I felt about Legendborn. Not my all-time favorite, but I did really enjoy it. So with that, I have finished reading the 4 books that my husband chose for me. Overall, they were all right around 4 stars, so I feel like he knows my taste pretty well. I think several of these I definitely, like, I'll continue all of these series. They're maybe not the top of my list series to continue, but I will for sure continue all of them at some point. So yeah, overall this worked pretty well. I do read a lot of my husband's recommendations just in general, so this video probably wasn't as crazy as when people do it with husbands that don't read or anything like that, but it was good. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what you think of them, and if you have any recommendations for me. But I will end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one very soon. Bye.